everybody, it's Brandon and I'm back with another real discussion. So, as y'all know, I'm not a big fan of the PC culture. But I am a fan of taking the logic of these politically correct people, these leftists, these white guilt people, these, victims, I guess, who just see everything as problem as with race or whatever. I like using their own logic against them. And one of the things that has come out that you hear Black Lives Matter calling for, you hear white people calling for, is that there's some idea of parity. And what they want is they want things relative to people's percentage of the population. So if you're on a corporate board, hey, why isn't there this amount of black people, this amount of women, yada yada, and they basically put it through all aspects of life. This, as we know, is complete bullcrap, and that's how the world works. But I will get on board. I will support that cause if the people calling for it will be willing to set the example that they're trying to preach. So you hear people like Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman and other people lament the fact that the National Football League and the NBA is something like 75% black, but the amount of coaches usually fall around 12 to 15%. And their feeling is that's way disproportionate to the makeup of the league and the players. But if we're fitting into this new parity thing that apparently that we're supposed to be so focused on, we got to ask ourselves, well, in that case, if this is what we're doing, why is this league 75% black? Right? Because they're 13% of the population. They're 75% of the NFL and the NBA. That's not proportional to their percentage of the population. And as y'all said before, it's not about talent. It's not about ability. It's about forcing this parity. So that means that these people need to give up their jobs. Right? It's the only right thing to do. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? Y'all like, no, I don't want to do that. Y'all don't want to break up the HBCUs. You don't want to break up, Tyler Perry Studios where he has hired a certain amount of minority. But see, you can't exempt yourself from what you're expecting of other people. And see, I can already tell you, like, man, we don't like that. Or you're trying to come up with some kind of excuse. And the reason why is because you only don't like it because it doesn't fit what you want to happen. Here's my advice for people who want parity. And it'll be from someone that I really respected, that I studied a lot growing up. And I really always felt he got a bad rap. Mr. Malcolm X. See, Malcolm and me, we can agree on quite a bit. And I'm going to read you a quote from him about a similar issue. Because in the 60s they had real racial problems that they were trying to work out, and it was the question of, do we segregate or integrate? MLK was a fan of integration and getting people to accept. Malcolm had my mindset on it. And here's what he had to say. He said, well, any form of integration, forced integration, any effort to force integration upon whites is actually hypocritical. There's a form of hypocrisy involved. If a white man puts his arms around me voluntarily, that's brotherhood. But if you hold a gun on him and make him embrace me and pretend to be friendly or brotherly towards me, then that's not brotherhood, that's hypocrisy. What America is trying to do is to pass laws, or in this case, guilt people or browbeat them to pretend that they want Negroes in their schools or their places of employment. Well, this is a hypocrisy, and this makes a worse relationship between black and white than if this could be brought about on a voluntary basis. And he goes on to say, I don't think having an opportunity to ride on either the front or the back of the middle of someone else's bus dignifies you. When you have your own bus, then you have dignity. When you have your own school, you have dignity. When you have your own, you have dignity. But when you're begging for a chance to participate, that which belongs to someone else, or use that which belongs to someone else on an equal basis with the owner, that's not dignity, that's ignorance. And so it's from that my challenge to people, and I'll be honest, y'all, that's been my philosophy in life. I'm never worried about racism. I always tell people, I don't know if people have not liked me because of the color of my skin. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but it ain't affected me. Because my mindset has always been, if that's how you feel, then why would I want to be there in the first place? I'm going to make my own. I'm doing okay. So here's my challenge to people. If you really want to make this happen, this is how you do it. I'm going to give you the roadmap. You just got to follow it. Make your own. That was a challenge Malcolm presented. That's what I'm challenging y'all. Don't beg for 15% of somebody else's space. Make your own space. Create your own Walmart, your own market, and then staff it and do however you like. If you don't like the owners in the NFL and what they're doing, there's nothing stopping you from creating your own league. Hell, Vince McMahon did it. And guess what? 75% of the league is black. So you know what? Maybe if those top talents say, you know what, we're going to do our own thing, guess what'll happen? Those owners and stuff that you wanted to change and control, they'll come to you because you're hitting it where it really hurts, the green. Don't try to force somebody else to accept you. That's dumb as hell. That ain't freedom. Going out and begging for a handout while calling them a name at the same time. Hey, you racist, give me money. Give me a job. Give me an opportunity. Make your own opportunity. That's where the money is. Look at music. Being assigned to someone as an artist doesn't guarantee you money. The people making money are the people that are producing. People are saying, well, it's these people that control what we see, what we do. Guess what? Hey, Tyler Perry did it. He controls what he makes. Why can't you do it? Get the people who believe in this movement, pull their money together, and start creating your own stuff. And then guess what? When that revenue starts slipping, then you will see other groups start to evolve in the way that they're doing things. And then there shall be the peace. Because then you're going to them, and I'm borrowing a little bit from Malcolm, he's like, you're going to them not with a handout, but as an equal. And you're able to have peace. And he actually says this. He says, when you're equal with another person, the problem of integration doesn't even arise. The Chinese in this country aren't asking for integration. This is a quote from him. The Japanese aren't asking. The only minority in America that's asking for integration is the so-called Negro, primarily because he's inferior. Not inherently inferior, but he's economically and socially and politically inferior. And that exists because he has never tried to stand on his own 2 feet and do something for himself, and thus has filled the role of a beggar. Like, look at the reality of the money. And you will hear this even back in the past. When they were racist, they still wanted black people to spend their money. And if that's your goal, then control where you spend your money. Build your own restaurants. Invest in your own neighborhoods. Build your own schools. You know, there's a lot of great things that can be happening if you're willing to take ownership of it and not blame other people, not wait for something to save you or for the minds and hearts of people to change, it's on you. And I'll be honest with you, if you look and you study history and you see all of these groups, immigrant groups, things like that, that is what they did. They came with nothing. They came in poverty most of the time. They didn't speak the language. They weren't welcome. And they said, screw it, we made our own. We'll form our own communities. We'll take care of each other. We'll build up. We'll do it. And then assimilation doesn't even become an issue. There's a time where being Irish and being Italian was less than being a black person. And you know what? It's not true today. You know, some of it's stereotypical. Asian people, they don't have the same issues that we have. Even Hispanics, with everything goes on, has less issues than we do. And that's because they stay with the communities, they invest, and they take care of each other. And so that's my challenge. It ain't us. This is America. It ain't on us to change the heart of somebody else or push our morals on them. It ain't on us to try to dictate who somebody else hires or what they want to do. And I'll be frankly, all those things that people are saying are actually illegal. And to be honest, it doesn't happen the way people seem to think it happens, where there's like this purposeful thing. It's really just the fact that people either hire people they know or people that they feel like they have something in common with. There's a whole lot of other reasons, or people in that area don't have the education, or they don't interview well. You know, there's a lot of different things it could be. Like I always say, saying racism just is a lazy way of saying it. But what happens is that as more competition happens, as more opportunities open that's created, you will see a broader range of things across other platforms, and you don't even have to protest or whine about it. It's going to happen. Because if Target sees that this black-owned makeup company is being really successful, guess what? They're going to say, hey, we want to work with you. You don't believe me? That's how it works. That's business. That's how it works, people. It's not a handout. It's not a moral indignation. It's a, hey, that's proven to be successful. I want a piece of that. And so that's my challenge for anyone who feels like they don't like the way things are breaking up and ignoring this whole parity bullshit. And just, if you don't like the way a particular company does things or the way you see things, or you want to see more representation, go out and create it yourself. Pull the money together, pull some people together, and do it your dang self. Because quite frankly, that is the real history of Black Americans. They did it themselves. Yeah, they had the occasional help, but by and large, they did it themselves. And they didn't go in hat in hand, and neither should you. Let's change this narrative. Let's stop the animosity. And let's start really and truly investing into a better future. That's my recommendation from me to you. Peace.